Hey Google, pause it. Delays are one of the most costly things because my son decided to throw our internet router down the stairs last night, their toilet backing up with sewage. It's been a struggle. Welcome back to another Living Off Rentals video here in the great town of Michigan City, Indiana. And I'm sitting today in one of our Airbnbs, which is my office for the day, because my son decided to throw our internet router down the stairs last night. Cheers. And apparently they are pretty fragile. So I'm going to be making a trip to Xfinity later today to get that replaced. But in the meantime, I get to use this as my office for today. We had a booking here for the weekend actually, but they canceled last night, and because it was the night before, we get to keep half of the booking fee and they get the other half back, but I get a free office for the day. So it all worked out. Anyways, today I want to talk to you about a lesson that I learned this past week on a multifamily property that I own down in close to Indianapolis. And this is actually a lesson that I've learned from years of seeing the result of what can happen when proactivity is not in place, when there's delays. And delays are one of the most costly things that can happen in real estate investing. And so this point was reiterated this past week when dealing with this 11-unit property that I own down in Noblesville. I've gone through 4 property managers on this property so far. It's been a struggle. Property management has been a struggle. This is a property that I bought. It's 11 units in Noblesville, which is a upper class suburb of Indianapolis. You know, it's a nice suburb, and the property was totally run down a few years back. And so in 2017, I bought the property for $300,000, and it needed a full gut job. You know, it was vacant at the time, and so we gutted it. We stabilized the property. This was over about a 9-month period. We replaced pretty much everything except for the walls are brand new in this property. And so we put, you know, probably another $700,000-800,000 into rehabbing the property and made it perfect. And during that time, I hired a property manager and fired the property manager before we even got it stabilized because I realized they were doing nothing. They weren't being proactive. Then we got another property manager and had problems with them. And so now we're on our 4th property management team, and it's still been a struggle. And so I just want to share a story of how problems can compound and how one problem can lead to 2nd order and 3rd order effects if you don't handle that one problem right away. And this is in property management. This is in borrowing money. You know, the same issue occurs. This is in rehabbing. This is in any aspect of your business that you can look at. If you don't handle things when they come up, when they rear their head as a problem, then it compounds in turn, and you have all these other issues. I recently just had a gentleman on the podcast who owns a construction company, and he reiterated this point because it's especially true when it comes to rehabbing and construction. And he said, on any project, you're going to have hundreds, you know, 300, 400, 500 different aspects of the construction that you need to handle, and they need to be handled in order. And so you build out a project plan based on all these different checkpoints that need to happen. And if they don't happen, or they don't happen in the right order, then it becomes this whack-a-mole game where you're solving the entire time, you're just solving problems that are created because the initial issue wasn't taken care of, or wasn't taken care of the right way. So to get to my story, so about 2 weeks ago, I got a work order that a tenant had their sewer backing up, or their toilet backing up with sewage. And so I saw that, I reached out to the property manager, said what's going on. They said they'd look into it, and they got back to me about 6 days later and said, you know, we had a underground sewer guy go out there, and the issue is that the sewer pipe, the main drain line, because it's on well and septic, so the main drain line going to the septic has been crushed, and so it needs to be replaced. And so immediately I thought, well, it's been 6 days. So where has the sewage that's been flushed down the toilet or showers or sinks or whatever gone in the last 6 days? You know, why, if the line is crushed, and people, obviously there's 11 people in this unit, they've been using the bathroom for 6 days, and so it seems odd that this is crushed. So I said I want to talk to the guy who's going to do the work, and so we got on a call. It sounded like, yes, that is the issue. Still kind of a mystery how the sewage is going, where the sewage is going. And so we got, so I approved the work to be done, and then 2 days later, I got another call from the property manager saying that they opened the garage, which is underneath the units, and they opened the garage in one of the units that was vacant, and there was 3 inches of sewage that ran out of the garage. So they did some investigating and realized that there's a boot, a rubber boot that connects the sewer line coming down from the unit to the sewer line that goes into the ground, and that boot had been burst, basically. So what happened was the sewer got backed up. That boot, that rubber boot, was the path of least resistance. It burst, and so for the last week, a week and a half at that point, all the sewage has been going into the garage. And so they immediately took action this time because there's sewage all over, and the maintenance person started cleaning it up, said he was going to go get a new boot and put it on the drain line. But obviously, at this point, you would think if you put the boot on there, then it's going to back up into the unit again if the original problem hadn't been fixed. So I asked, was the pipe fixed underground? They didn't know, but we talked about not replacing the boot until it was. And then a few days later, or a day later, another emergency work order that there's sewage backing up into the person's unit. So I reached back out to the property manager, and they told me that no, they hadn't fixed the crushed pipe yet, but they put the boot on, even though we talked about not doing that. So now we had another issue. We had to clean up that tenant's unit again that had been backed up. We had to clean up the garage. We had to replace the pipe. And so this is 2 weeks in, and it caused, you know, several $1,000s worth of work that had to be done when all that was the issue initially was this crushed pipe. And it could have been solved 2 weeks earlier and relatively low cost and low issues. But instead it compounded, and we had an angry tenant who had problems over the course of 2 weeks. We had a garage that was full of sewage. We had work that we just had to do over and over again. And so it just reminded me, and this isn't the first time, there's been several instances of this with this property management company and others. And so it just reminded me of the importance of getting issues taken care of immediately, because they will compound. So if you think about in your business, are there issues right now that need to be handled? If there's a property, I think we all have those properties that are just kind of a thorn in your side and you'd like to get rid of, think through what is the main problem that's driving that to be a thorn in your side type property. Can you handle that? Put some attention, focus on that issue and handle that issue right away. And then it won't turn into that thorn in the side property that has, it seems to every time you turn around, you've got a problem there. And so just wanted to reiterate that lesson of proactivity today. I think it's a great lesson as we go into the weekend here. It's Friday. This is a little bit different type of video than I typically do. It was unscripted. Just I want to share a story to reiterate a point that I think is one of the most important things that you can do in your business, and that is just being super proactive. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when other videos come out, because I release videos on helpful rental real estate investing topics on a weekly basis. Also, you can join the Living Off Rentals Facebook group. It's an awesome group. I hope to see you there, but if not, I will see you in the next video.